Hello everyone, my name is Kumar and welcome back to our channel KUMAR Programming. This is the 18th part of this series where we are building an e-commerce project as online switch store in Next.js 15 and React 19. In this session, we are going to handle our client-side and server-side error in application, and also we are going to migrate Next.js from 15.1 to 15.2, and we will see that what all the new features is being added. And after that, we are going to configure Sentry to log our error in production, and also we are going to fix some GUI issues which we have. And friends, at the end of this video, I'm going to do an announcement regarding our online free classes for our Next.js 15 for beginners. So please be there till the end of this video since we are going to learn a lot of things. And hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so far. Alright, so now let's proceed. Now let's quickly talk about why this error handling is so important in any application. So first of all, it's very important from the user experience point of view. When something goes wrong, like an API fails or a component crash, you don't want your user to see blank screen or cryptic error message. Proper error handling ensures that your app remains functional and user-friendly. The second aspect we have is debugging. So errors are inevitable, means you cannot avoid them. They must have to come, especially in complex applications. And by logging those errors, you can quickly identify and fix them. And the other aspect we have is the production monitoring. In production, you need tools to track errors in real time, so you can resolve them before they impact more users. So now you know that why proper error handling is a crucial part of any application. So now we are going to do a proper error handling in our application. And at the end of this video, you will be able to know that how we can handle errors properly in our application and make our application stable and more user friendly. Alright. Also, in our previous session, we have successfully implemented our user registration form by using React Hook Form library, and we have done the validations here using our JOD validation, and users were able to successfully log in by providing their information. Now further we are going to implement our error gracefully at the client side as well as server side both. Now let's flip to the Visual Studio. Here inside our user actions file, we have created our sign up user actions, right? And inside this, under our catch block, here we are checking if error is redirect error, right? If it is a soft redirect error, then we are throwing this error. Otherwise, we are returning this user registration failed, please try again. So in this case, user won't be able to know that what the exact error is and what are the action needs to perform for those errors. So suppose that if we have any validation error or we have any constants error like email already exists or we have any some kind of network error, user won't be able to know that. So in this case, we are going to return from here a formatted error. So we will create a function where we will pass this error, and on the basis of these errors, we are going to create a format error message which is going to be returned from here. So now let's create a format error function inside our utility.ts file. Here, since already I have created this format error function, so I'm going to use it to just save our time. Okay. So this is our format error function. Now let's first understand this. So in this function, we are passing error, right? As of now, I have given type error as any, and I have disabled my ESLint over here. So the first condition which we are checking here for the JOD error. JOD error is something related with the validation. Each and every field we have given validations for in their schema. If any error come related with the validations, this condition is going to be true, and we are going to return those errors from here. And the second condition which we are checking is if the error code is P2002, right? This error code is specifically defined for constant violation error for any existing field. Like we have an email already registered and user is trying to register with the same email which is already exists. So we are going to get this error with the error code P2002, right? And the error name would be Prisma client known request. And the third condition which we have here is for the error code P2025, which is specifically for record not found error. Whenever we don't have any record, in that case, we are going to return this error. And this is the fourth category which we are using for any connectivity issues. And the error name would be Prisma client initialization error. If there is a problem with the Prisma database connection error, in that case, we are getting this Prisma client initialization error. And the next one which we have is error.isXeos error. If it's a Axios error, then we are returning it's a HTTP request field along with the error message, and it is going to handle Axios HTTP request error. And the next category which we have for error is instance of error. This is specifically to handle JavaScript and TypeScript error if we have. And the last category which we have here is handle unknown error. And in this case, we are checking if error.message is a type of a string, then we are returning error.message. Otherwise, we are returning our errors by stringify them, right? So here we are just formatting the error. We are not logging it. So we must have to log these error. So how we can log it? Let me create another function over here. Since already I have implemented this function, so I'll paste it just to save our time. And here, let me quickly explain this function. So in this handle error function, we are passing this error as a type any. And inside this handle error function, we are calling this format error function, right? This format error function which we have created. And this format error function is returning a specific error message on the basis of error. After that, we are logging our error. So in order to log our error, if we are in a local environment, then it's fine. We can write our console log. But if we are in production, we cannot use this console error. So we must have to use any tool where we can write our log. So in this application, we are using Sentry. So we are going to configure this Sentry after some time. But for the time being, I'm just going to comment this line. Okay. So if the environment is production, then we are going to log our error inside our Sentry. Otherwise, we are going to log our error in our local environment. All right. Now let's call our this handle error function inside our user actions. So here we are going to call our handle error function and we are going to pass this error. That's it. And we are going to import this our handle error function from our util library. Now let's quickly test this function. So here I'm going to use email ID which already exists, admin@admin.com, and password 123456, and here confirm password 123456, right? Now once we will click on sign up, we should be getting an error that email already exists, right? So now we have submitted it. See, now we are getting the specific error that email already exists. So in this case, user will be able to know that this email is already exist and we have to register with some other email ID, right? Now let's refresh this and see other scenarios as well. As of now, at the client side, we are using our JOD validations. So it's very rare case that this our client side validation is going to be failed. But in somehow, if client side validations are getting failed, still we are validating our these fields before creating the users. Now let me show you that quickly. Here inside our auth sign up form, for the time being, I'm just going to comment this JOD resolver. Okay. So now our client side validation will be disabled. Now let's quickly test. Let's refresh this and now see if we click on sign up, our client side validation is disabled. And here you can see name must be 3 characters, invalid email address, password must be at least 6 character, confirm password must be at least 6 character, right? So here we are seeing all the errors which is coming from our server side validations, but it's very, very rare since we have already used our client validation. Now let me quickly revert back our changes and enable our validation at the client side. And also if you see here inside our catch block, here we are checking if each redirect error which we are doing from our server actions. So if that is the case, then we have to handle these errors at our client side. Okay. So now let's see how we can do that. So here in our sign up form, we must have to handle those soft redirect errors. So here we are going to check if is redirect error, and this is a function. So we are going to pass error inside this. And if it is true, so we are just going to refresh our page, right? So here router.refresh, right? And we are going to create this router from our use router from our next navigation. So here we will create const router equal to use router, that is coming from our next navigation, not from the next router. This would be coming from next navigation. And this router is going to simply refresh the page in case of its soft redirect error, right? And as of now, we are just here logging our response messages in case of success, and in case of error, we are just showing that error messages to the user. So far that we have talked about for the client component and what happen if we get the error on a server side component, right? So suppose that here we are getting any error at the sign up page and we are getting any error on the sign in page. These sign in, sign up are server component. So what happen if any error comes to this server component? So in that case, Next.js provide a specific file which is a error.tsx. This is a special file like our layout, like our loading, not found. These all are our special files, right? So similarly, we have one more special file as a error.tsx. So now let me create another error.tsx file inside our auth error.tsx, right? So in case of any error occurred in our server component, this error.tsx is going to be rendered. And if you want to make it more specific for the sign in page and sign up page, then we can create another error.tsx file inside our sign up page and inside our sign in page. That would be more granular level, right? So we will just implement this error.tsx, but before that, think about another scenario. What happen if any error come in this layout.tsx, right? Because this layout.tsx is at very top level, and if any error comes, then our application is going to be crash, right? So in that case, there is another specific file provided by Next.js, which is global error.tsx, right? So here we are going to create another file as a global error.tsx, and we remember that we cannot change this name. Okay, so this global error.tsx is going to create a boundary beyond of this layout.tsx, and if any error come inside this layout.tsx, it's going to be managed by this global error.tsx. Now let's prove that how it works. So first of all, we will implement it our error.tsx. So here I'm just going to paste it since already I have created, and it's very much similar to our not found page, right? So simply in case of any error occurred over here, we are calling our handle error function, which we have created. And in case of any error occurred inside our sign up or sign in, this error.tsx is going to be called. Okay. And similarly, we are going to have this error page over here inside our global error.tsx, right? And here I'll give the name as a global error. Now further, we are going to simulate our error for error.tsx and global error.tsx and see how the error boundary works. But before that, we are going to migrate our Next.js 15.1 to 15.2, since they have redesigned some error UIs and they have improved stack trace for 15.2, right? So now let's see first of all what all the new features is being added into 15.2. If you see here, this Next.js 15.2 is being launched on 26th of February, couple of days back, right? And if you see here, Next.js 15.2 includes update for the debugging error, metadata, Turbopack and more, right? The very first one is redesigned error UI and improved stack traces, right? So if you see here, see now we have on the error overlay, we are having a more stack trace here, and they have redesigned it. And if you see, and here we have more information on the indicator side as well. See now if we have this indicator, earlier we are seeing this indicator, right? But now we are seeing this indicator in a more detailed way here, and we are seeing this kind of issues. And further, they have done the changes for the streaming metadata. So earlier what happened, like once we are loading the metadata and till the time it's getting returned, our initial render was getting stuck, right? So page we are not getting initial rendered till the time our async metadata was loading. So they have done the performance improvement. Now whether it is async metadata is getting loaded or not, initially the first render they are sending it, so it's not waiting for the async metadata information. So they have done this performance improvement, and also they have improved the Turbopack performance improvement, but we are not using Turbopack for now. And this is React View transitions, which is as of now experimental. So might be it would be coming in our next release. And this node middleware also, this is also experimental, right? And they are going to release use case beta in our upcoming versions. So now quickly migrate from our 15.1 to 15.2. So here we have a very simple step to migrate it. So first of all, let's install our canary and upgrade it. So here what I'm going to do, I'll open another terminal and here I will install this. Okay, so it's not going to take much more time. Now it's asking to install 15.2 version. So yes, press Y and proceed. All right, now the second command which we have to execute it, this next latest and react latest, right? So now let's execute it. This is npm. It's going to take some time to install. I'll provide these command and link to the description. So now our Next.js latest is being installed, and now we are going to stop our server and run it once again. Npm run dev. Yep, now our application is running. So now if you see our application, so our application is running fine. Now we can verify if our installation here. If you see, now we are working on Next 15.2 version, right? All right. Now further we are going to simulate our error for our sign up page and sign in page, right? So let's do first with the sign up page. So here inside our sign up page, here I'm going to check if math.random is greater than 0.5, right? Then we are going to throw error. This is just to simulate error on the page, right? So here throw new error as critical error on sign up page, right? Now let's see. Now let's quickly refresh this couple of times. So yeah, see, now it got failed, right? And we got this error, critical error on sign up page. And see here, now this UI is being changed for error, and this see here critical error on sign up page, right? And this error is being handled by this error.tsx file, right? So if you see this error.tsx file, here we have our error.tsx file, right? So that error automatically comes to this error.tsx file. Got it? And also similarly, we can do it for sign in page. So here I'll just copy this code and I'll paste it inside our sign in. And here we will give error message as sign in page, right? Now let's go back to the sign in page. Let's refresh it a couple of times. Now it got failed, right? And we see this message, critical error on sign in page, right? So in case of any error occurred on our server component, it is being handled by our error boundary, right? And if you see now this UI is being changed, now we have better UI in our 15.2. Great. Now on this particular error page, if user want to refresh, they can refresh this page, sign in page. Otherwise they want to go back to the home page, they can go back to the home page. So user want to refresh, so they will click on the refresh button and they will get the page, right? And if they want to go back to the home page, they can go back to the home page as well. So all these errors that we are talking about at the page level, what happened if any error occurred at the layout level, at the root layout. So if in that case, this global error.tsx is going to handle those errors if it comes to the layout. And we remember that these error.tsx and global error.tsx are client component, okay? And we are logging these errors. Whenever error will occur, we are going to log these errors, that the function which we have created for the handle error, right? Now in order to test our global error, we should create a error wrapper component over here. So I'm going to create another component as a error wrapper .tsx, and simply inside this I'm going to use this error simulator and error wrapper. And in this component here I have a error wrapper, and inside this error wrapper I'm calling this another subcomponent as a error simulator. See this is the error simulator, and in this error simulator I'm passing error message, right? And here I have state, error state, and initially I have set it as a false, and here I have a button. Once I click on this button, we are going to set the status of this error as a true, and once error status is true, we are going to return this error message, right? And now we are going to use this error wrapper inside our layout.tsx. So here we are going to wrap our children with the error wrapper, and error wrapper should be imported from, no, it's not imported. Yeah, let's import it from error wrapper, right? And let's wrap our children inside our error wrapper, right? Let me just stop this, our current processing. Now I'll build this application, right? npm run build, right? So now it's going to generate the build, and then we will execute that build, okay? In order to just show you that those errors are being handled properly. Now it's creating a optimized production build. Now it's compiled successfully, and it's checking for the linting error and all. Now it's generating the static pages. So our application got built. Now we can run npm run start, which is going to start our application from the build, right? If I just click on the error simulator, here you see now we are getting this error, but we are not getting the unhandled error, right? So this error which we are logging in our function. In our production mode, we cannot log this error, right? So we must have to log somewhere. So we must have to use some tool like Winstons, Sentry. Those tools are there that we can log our error. So let me quickly configure this Sentry tool. This is quite easy and straightforward to configure. Now let's open this Sentry. And what all you have to do, you have to just create an account over here in Sentry. So I'm going to log in with the Google, or you can just create your account with either email ID or Google account or GitHub, whatever you want. And once you are logged in, then you have to create a project. So I'm going to create a project from here, and the project I'm going to create from Next.js. So I'll use this Next.js, and you can see here how many platform is being supported by this Sentry. So I'll click on this Next.js, and then after that here you can give the project name. So I'll give here Shoes Store, and I'll create this project, right? And once now if you see here my project is created, and now we need to configure this Sentry in our application, right? So simply we have to run this command. This is going to execute a wizard. So here inside our application, let's open the terminal, and here inside our application, let's paste it, okay, and press enter. Let's make it a bit bigger. Now it's going to prompt some sort of questions that we have to be respond and configure. Now here it's asked you are not inside a Git repository. This wizard will create and update the file. Do you want to continue anyway? Yes, continue. Press enter. Now it's being connected to the Sentry. Now return back to the terminal. Now login is completed to the Sentry, and project is selected as a Kumar Programming SUI store. Now it's installing Sentry in my application. So it may take a couple of minutes to install it. Now it's asking, do you want to route Sentry request in the browser through your Next.js server to avoid ad blockers? No, I don't want. So I'll select no. And do you want to enable React component annotation to make breadcrumbs and session replays more reliable? No, I don't want that. Continue without React component annotation. Do you want to enable tracing? No, I don't want to enable tracing for now. Do you want to enable Sentry session replay? No, since I don't want to increase the bundle size. Right now it's asking to add these lines in my global error. So I'm going to copy these lines and paste in my global error file. Here where we are implementing our global error. So this is our global error, and I'll paste all these lines over here, right? Since this use effect is already being used, right? And also this Sentry.capture exceptions we have already handled, which is being called inside our handle error, right? And yep, that's it. Now let me just respond with yes, I did it. Do you want to create an example page? No, I don't want to create an example page. Are you using the CI/CD tool to build and deploy your application? Yes, I'm using this Vercel. So yes. Did you configure CI as shown above? So it's asking to add this Sentry auth token inside our .env config file. So let's add it. Here is our .env config file. Let's add it, right? Now let's save it. Let's make this string inside the quotes. Now yes, continue. Yep. So now if you see here, we got the message as successfully installed the Sentry Next.js SDK, right? Now what we will do here inside our util.ts, and here if you remember that we have logged in with Sentry.capture exceptions, right? And we will import this Sentry. In global error we are using this Sentry, right? So now we are going to use this Sentry over here as well, right? Now let's stop everything. Let me delete all these terminals, and let me delete this cache folder as well, right? Now let me restart this application. So I'm going to close it and restart it once again. Now let me restart the application once again. Right, so I have reopened my application, and now let's open a terminal and build our application. So we are going to build it with npm run build. Okay, now we got this error, Sentry is defined but never used. It is in global.error.tsx. So here in global.error.tsx, yes, we defined Sentry here, but we have never used because we are logging here inside our handle error function, right? And this error needs to be removed from here, right? And here one more error that we have is unexpected any is specified a different type. Okay, so this is inside our util function. Here I have already disabled it, right? So it needs to be okay. Once we saved it, this came to the, so now it should be fine. Let's build it once again. npm run build. It's compiled successfully, and now it's checking for the linting errors. So this time linting is passed. So now this time it's successfully built, and now we can run this build for the production environment. So here npm run start, right? All these commands are there in the package.json file. Now this production build is running in local. Now let's see. Now here, if you see this, we have the error simulator, right? If we click on this, so the issue come to the root layout and it went to the global error page, right? And this error should be logged inside our Sentry, right? So here, if you come here and come to the take me to the issue, and here you see this error is getting logged, right? And if you want to see this error, we can see all those error details over here, right? If you see here, this is error level and handled, it is true. The URL which is coming from this local host, right? And if you want to see the full trace, you can see the full trace from here. See here, you can see the full trace detail. Now let's go back, and I would like to show you that, see this here, handled is true, right? So now we are able to successfully logged our error to the Sentry, right, in our production build. Now for the time being, I'm going to remove this error wrapper, or I'll just comment it so you guys can take the reference it from GitHub repository. I'll just comment it here, okay? Since this is just a error simulator to show you that how error is going to be handled in our layout page, root layout page, or any other components. So I hope this is clear to you that how we can handle our error. Now further, let me fix some GUI issues which I have identified. So here, if you see, once user is sign in, so it's not, and also we are going to comment all these lines. No, it's not here. On sign in page, we have this, right? I'll just comment it now, right? And if you want to take it, you can take the reference from GitHub repository. I'll commit this code right after this session. Now let me quickly show you some of the GUI issues which we have. Here, once user is trying to sign in, so let me just sign in with the admin@admin.com, password 123456, right? Now here you see this box is closely attached to this right side, so we need some gap over here. Also, if you see here, if I inspect it for the smaller screen, and here you see this box is not coming inside this seat, right? So we are going to fix these issues. So let's quickly go back to our user button component, right? So we have our user button component, user button.tsx, right? So here we are going to give a class name over here as width 56, that's fine. For the medium screen, we are going to have some margin from right, okay? So now we should be having some margin. Let's see. Yep, see here, now we are having margin from the right side. Now let's fix it for the smaller screen. We have to align this content. So here we have a property as align, which would be start. Here we can have align start center and by default it's center. Okay, so now we are going to set it as a start. Now let's see if we inspect it. Yep, now we are seeing in this our seat only. Now let's close this. And one more thing, if you see here, this name should be coming in bold, right? Here what I'll do this, here I'll make this font bold, and I'll make here for email font as normal. Okay, font normal. And also I'm going to remove this muted here, and I'll use this class as a text gray around 600. Okay, now let's see this. Yep, it seems good, right? So friends, I hope this tutorial was helpful to you and how we can handle errors efficiently in our Next.js application. Now in our upcoming session, we are going to work on cart button, where we are going to create our add cart component. Then we will add item to our cart, and we will do the price calculation, and then we will remove the items from the cart. So a lot of stuff is going to be around this cart button that we will do it from the next session. And friend, there is an announcement regarding our live classes for Next.js 15, which will be absolute for beginners, which I'm planning to have on each and every Sunday. So if you want to learn Next.js from the beginning, from the scratch, so that crash course is going to be very, very helpful to you. And also I'm planning to have crash courses on Prisma and PostgreSQL in our upcoming sessions, right? So I'll be coming live on YouTube, and I'll be providing the timing and link details later on, but that is going to be started from next Sunday onwards, which is 9th of March. So please write me in the comment section who all are interested for our Next.js crash course for beginners, right? So that's the end of the session. And if you found this tutorial helpful, do me a favor, like this video to support me and my channel, and subscribe my channel if you haven't already done so far. And share this with your fellow developers who might find it useful. And if you really love my work, then consider buying me a coffee to support for more free tutorials. Link is given below in the description. Alright, that's all for the day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care and keep learning.